Time Magazine's Prop of the Year 2001. Award winning. Here with
Grant Cole, the rugby evangelist from This is Texas Rugby. Howdy from Texas.
How you doing, Grant?
Doing.
And we are the Propcast, episode 4.
And we are the Propcast episode 4. I'm so tired from today, man.
Hey, I'm about to say the heat.
It's
summertime.
Man, and it wasn't even really that hot. It only got up to like 93 today.
Wait, what percentage humidity?
Oh no, that was 99.
Man, I know about Houston, man. Woo.
I mean, it was a nice day until the rain came in the afternoon, which it was still nice. But I mean, in the morning it was hot, and spending 3-4 hours out there in that heat was something else.
I'm about to say, we'll get into that. One of our topics today, the Houston Strikers had their combine, and Grant was there. So as the evangelist that he's come to bring us the good news and the story from that. Got 3 other topics that are coming up as well. We're going to be talking about Pool C for the Men's World Cup. That was finalized this week with Fiji beating Samoa, therefore bringing Tonga with them, and they are in our pool. So the pool of quote-unquote, as I say, death has been solidified with Tonga. So we'll talk about the matches there. We got it on good authority that a couple of test matches have been locked down, one between us and Germany and another against a rematch between us and Georgia, European tour. So we'll talk a little bit about that, our thoughts. Then we'll talk a little bit of the Women's World Cup. Coming up, we're about to say under 30 days. So it's time to start getting excited and sort of introducing some of our thoughts on what's going on, especially for Team USA. I think that we have some good potential there. Some things has to happen. We're excited to hear about the roster when it comes out. We're just out here waiting. So I guess let's get started. So, Grant, tell us about what was going on with the Houston Strikers combine.
So yes, Houston Strikers Rugby had their combine, had their first of 2 combines today at the south offices of ATH, Athletic Training and Health. It's run by one of the directors of ATH is Neil McMillan, a former USA Eagle, also a former Ulster man. Played at Ulster, played his rugby at Ulster there, and Neil knows what he's doing when it comes to rugby. He had his staff out there administering the test. They had the laser timers out there as well, doing a 10, 20, and a 40 time on the 40-yard dashes. Had timers going on the T drills, and then they broke in. They also did the high jump from the pad, and then a broad jump, and then went into some rugby drills after that.
Sounds kind of classic.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
base explosion, speed, acceleration.
Yeah, and that's really what it was about. Let's see where you're at. Uh-huh. You guys need to know we're looking for some standards. We want to kind of put people into a range and see who's just not even there. And there were 26 athletes out there today. All of them I know have prior rugby experience. A couple of them went to the NRFL combine 3 years ago, so they got introduced to rugby one of them got introduced to rugby that way. And then there's several guys that you would call crossover athletes who have come into rugby recently, but they're still playing here in town. So guys like Clinton Maxwell and Jercel McMullen, superior athletes. Maxwell's a tank. I mean, this guy's an easy 230, 235, standing about 6'2", and got he's got maybe 6% body fat. I mean, yeah. Yeah, he looks. I mean, he takes his shirt off, and you're thinking Javon Curse. That's okay. I mean,
he's a built dude.
Yeah, he's a built dude, and he can move. So he's not only a big guy, but he's built. There's some other fellas out there. I don't know their names, but they're tall. You can tell from their 40s runs they've had a lot of sprint coaching in their life. Their first 3 steps were your classic first 3 steps, and then they stand up and stride it out, and you see those strides with the feet and the toes pointing in the right place, knees up in the front. I mean, everything
smooth,
just real smooth, yeah, and practice. So that
not like me,
like
I look like an 18-wheeler going through it.
Yeah, like the fastest 40 time out there today was a 4.47.
Good.
Yeah, so I mean, there were some good times out there, and when they ran the Bronco, the Bronco is for folks who don't know what a Bronco is 20 meters up and back, 40 meters up and back, 60 meters up and back, and then you do that 5 times in a row. For time, world-class time is 5 minutes in the 5-minute range. Okay,
it's 1,200 meters total, correct?
About 1,250 almost. Okay. So and basically what it comes out to is you guys you know what, it is 1,200 meters anyway. So you had one guy out there.
I can do math in my head. I have no idea why.
I do it too. I just don't do it that quick. And then sorry,
there you go.
Had to spray the cat. Anyways,
no.
And one guy ran it in a 5:03. So there,
all right.
Yeah. Willie Perry Jackson, he plays for Hark here in town. 5:03. I mean, in the guy's in superior shape. He's been to several rugby academies around the area, around the country. So he's got some skill. He's got some talent, and he's phenomenally. He's probably about 205, 215 area, and he plays back row. So.
Excellent. I think something to point out about what you said, he's invested. If he's been around the country, he's actually invested in his development. That's a big deal.
He spent some time on it, and he doesn't work out every day. He's not a trainer like some of those guys out there are. There are 2 or 3 guys out there, and that's what they do for a living. There's their trainers. That's it. That's what they do. You can tell by looking at them. So there were some impressive athletes out there today. The skill level, as far as rugby skill, while everybody knew the game, the skill level wasn't quite up to where I would like to see it overall. But then there were a couple of bright spots in the day where you saw some cutout passes where you didn't expect one. Guys consistent.
They were sharp.
Yeah, guys.
Sharp. Okay,
guys consistently attacking the outside shoulder when on defense. Things like that. So I mean, you saw some things out there today that were consistently good. And one of the best things I think saw is Kevin Cook and Tony Gaines are out from the Houston Chronicle. Tony is a photographer.
Oh.
Yeah, Tony's a photographer. Kevin's a writer. He writes for he writes for Cy-Fair Sports area for the Cypress Fairbanks area in Houston. He has a podcast like ours called Cy-Fair Sports Report. And all he does is talk about sports in the little Cy-Fair community, which you might think is small, but it's 12 high schools with 3,000 students each. So there's a lot of sports.
Right.
And so he covers a lot, and he was out there today doing his thing. And then I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he's with Vipe High School Sports. He was out there doing the filming and doing his part as well. Was really good to see some media coverage out there that was different from just the normal rugby guys. So that was
it's important.
And then some of the guys that are I would say stalwarts in the local rugby community, even though they're not going to be out there trying out, they were here because they are admins, local admins, they're local coaches, referees, guys who from around they've been around a while. So it was good to see them out there. It basically solidified the sense of community that the Strikers are really focusing on. So
and that's so important. You mentioned this. We talked about this in a previous podcast. For this to work, we have to embed in the community.
Yes, it's very important, and to see how the Strikers are actually doing that, and they're telling and listening to Justin talk about, hey, we don't just need to develop players, we have to develop coaches too, because if those club teams are going to end up providing future players for us at some point, especially the high school teams, we have to make sure we have coaches in there that are developed to a point to where they can provide that. So, and we've got some great coaches in the area, but I don't think we have enough. And one of the things that, I see happening in the college game and the teams that are getting serious is they're going out there and they're building a coaching staff so that their player to coach ratio is always in the 10-1 to 12-1 spectrum instead of that 60-1 spectrum a lot of us are so used to. And it's an important thing there. So I was really, really very, very interested in how they're doing that. You got to see a lot of the strikers that are already signed, that are already living here. They were out there today. Kyle Sumption, the Slater cousins, Jackson Slater and Christian Slater, and that's funny because they're not really cousins, but that's what I'm going to call them, the Slater cousins. Jack Riley, who was out there, he's a prop, and that is a big unit. This guy is a big unit. Of course, the coaches were out there. Rook, Fitzy, and Bowie were out there, and their CEO was out there as well. So I mean, they wasn't just and they had all of their office staff out there. It was a pretty good day for the Strikers. Also, they had Baylor College of Medicine's out there for an athletic trainer and an orthopedic surgeon.
Great. So, that's massive.
Yeah, so it wasn't some combine that didn't have any medical staff there. They had a real orthopedic surgeon out there and a real licensed athletic trainer to do taping up and to look at guys when they were, when they had tweaks. And so it was, that's some pretty impressive stuff that I got to see. So the combine was made up mostly of local high school kids who just graduated, who are staying in town. A lot of local club guys, and then, like I said, a lot of sprinters, a lot of speedsters that I know are playing in local clubs. I just haven't seen them before.
Nice. Well, and I think that's what the beauty of, like, it's sort of the open call for a combine, right?
Yeah.
That it gives us an opportunity for some people that we may not have noticed just because, where they position and play or whatever. Now they get to show their stuff in sort of a vacuum. So the spotlight's on them, and so they might catch it. They can catch your eye.
And I really think we're going to see a bigger outcome turnout at the August combine up in the north side of town here. It's just a few miles from my home. I think we're going to see a bigger turnout there, especially after looking at today's numbers. 26 players are good numbers. But once people see that, hey, they're doing this serious, this means something, I think that they're going to, look at this with, hey, maybe I should go out there, and give it a run. At least just see where I'm at and maybe give me something to work on.
I agree. Great news coming out of Texas there with the Houston Strikers' first combine.
Now, the only bad news today that came out of this is Coach Petey Hepburn, the coach of the Cy-Fair Warriors rugby team, the local high school team that my kid plays on, and he's also a former Jamaica Sevens player, played in Hong Kong Sevens, played at Sam Houston State, played all over Houston, just an all-around great guy. Petey got out there today, 32 years old, gave it his all, gave everything he had. On the way home, he ended up feeling bad, pulled over the side of the road. Somebody stopped, gave him some fluids. He had to call one of the other coaches. They took him to the hospital, dehydrated, rhabdo, a couple other things.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
Man,
so it was hot.
He's peeing coffee.
Well, no, but I mean, and I watched him. He drank and drank and drank. And a lot of these guys drank and drank and drank. But, man, I got to tell you, you gotta watch yourself when you're out there. I mean, and they gave him plenty of time between tests to recover, stand in the shade, get a drink of water. They had 4 coolers worth of water and Gatorade, Powerade out there. So it wasn't like they didn't provide that stuff. It was all there. It's just sometimes you get out there and 4 hours later, if you put out as much as you can. And I watched Petey run, and he put out a lot. It's going to end up hurting you. And rhabdo ain't no joke to come back from. I had that one time when I was in the Marine Corps on bed rest for 6 weeks. Yeah. And I still didn't feel right coming back after that.
I'm about to say, yeah, I actually had a bout myself 2 years ago. And this is great. This is actually good feedback for folks at home. I actually journaled it, how it worked out, and I just started my preseason build up, and I was doing very high repetition, high intensity work. So the workout I was doing was 7, 6, 5, 4, 3.
Oh man.
7 sets of 7,
Mm-hmm,
6 sets of 6.
I know that
On
workout.
down. Yep. And pull ups and rows, heavy back, heavy arms. Left, I felt it was a great workout. Felt great, but when I got home, the soreness hit almost immediately. I'm a slow onset guy. I'm 24 to 36 hours for my soreness. This was within 6 to 12. First thing I noticed, and I'm like, okay, I mean, I'm just being a wimp, whatever, right? Next day, going about my business. Next thing you know, go to the bathroom. I'm peeing coffee.
Yeah. Not a good thing.
Not a good thing. And the soreness was something that I never felt before. Like in terms of unable to bend I was stuck in sort of the preacher curl position. So I couldn't really move one way or the other. So I was just stretching out. I'm like, I try to stretch out, that type of deal. No avail. So yeah, I was in the hospital for 4 days.
Yeah, I understand, man. It's a bad thing.
It was something else, but I learned a lot about nephrology and my kidney functions and how those type of things were, and I'd learned a lot about what that really was. Because before I used to think it was just like people that had been in accidents and had metabolic disorders and wasting disorders. Like my background's in clinical research, like those. That's where all I knew about. I never really thought it was exercise induced until that day.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and the nephrologist looked at me like, you hear my workout? He's like, dude, what are you doing? Well, man, but those folks looking at home, you have to be adapted, and probably because it was too early in my preseason to be doing something like that. That's really what the take home was. So, folks listening at home, like this is something that it can play out that way. And they, like you mentioned in the Marine Corps, this is something he was telling me they see in folks that, or especially reservists that are in and out, and they're ready to, they kind of gear up, and they're like, okay, I'm about to activate, so I need to get ready. And then boom, they get hit because, they can power through it, but they're not fit enough to actually do it consistently. That's the difficult. I'm like, wow, I learned a ton. But no, great. I'm about to say good thing. Learn something at the Propcast. You heard it from here. We talk science out here and rugby.
So yeah, PD, when you listen to this, hope you're getting better.
Get well, man.
The whole team's pulling for you, and we're behind you. Let us know if you need anything. Mm-hmm. So what's next? Any more?
Next topic. I think we did a good job with that one. What do you think about? Let's talk about Pool C.
Pool C.
That's solidified over over the past couple of days.
Well, I'm going to go. I'm going to go on record saying I think Pool C we can go 1-3 in.
Okay, I'm confident 1-3. I haven't actually, embarrassingly, looked at the schedule of the pool matches, so I don't know who we see first versus last and etc. I remember when we played, this was 2003, England first,
mm-hmm.
and played them tough. One tough red card really kind of screwed us. Ended up playing England with 14 and losing it 19-0. I think that some of those first games are up for grabs depending on who it is. Are we going to sneak up on anybody? Once again, we don't have a coach yet.
We
don't have a system.
If we have France first, and we come out there ready, looking to embarrass the first team we play, we have a chance there. But I'm just, that chance is slim.
Very.
Argentina, Argentina is going to be in the semifinals.
Yeah, they've been actually building for years for this World Cup cycle.
And it wouldn't surprise me to see Argentina and England both in the semifinals this year with like New Zealand and I don't know, Ireland. Yeah, if it works out, if everything works out, and one of two of those teams don't meet in the quarterfinals, that could be the 4 teams in the semis pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm thinking right now. My gut's telling me that England tops the pool. Right now, they have a lot of young talent that's playing out of this world right
They do.
now. Especially in their pack, some young talent. There's going to be, and this is England, so there's going to be more talent coming along.
Yeah.
The question, and also England is not necessarily known for backing young talent right off the bat. They don't give that, like the Maro Itoje being left off the last World Cup roster was a howler, but that's England.
But
The jersey doesn't come easy.
But now there's Eddie
you know?
Jones there, and we already saw Eddie Jones is going to pick a roster to win, and he's going to and that's going to be a tough sell there. I don't think. I think the match between England and Argentina will be the decider for the pool for sure. I hesitate to say Argentina will beat England, but I have a feeling that they can.
Oh, certainly. I mean, when it's knockout, that's knockout rugby.
Mm-hmm.
So in a squared up knockout rugby match, that favors an Argentina.
Yeah,
we've seen this many times. They can grind a game to a painful pace that you don't want to play. You will play. You have an 80% chance of playing Argentina's game when you play Argentina.
Yeah,
because they suck the best. They did it to Ireland. They've done it to France multiple times. They've done it to South Africa multiple times, and they've done it to England.
Now,
they've split some of those matches, but there's no Argentina's not going to be scared of anybody in that pool.
Now, if Eddie Jones brings in somebody like Cotter or Gatlin that knows how to run that Biarritz disrupting defense, disrupting your game plan, stealing ball from you defense like Biarritz likes to play, then I think that's the kind of team that can beat England, or that England can, or that's the kind of defense that England can play and actually beat Argentina with, and really, but that's what you have to do. It's like you said, 80% of the time you're playing Argentina's game. If you go in there and disrupt Argentina, look at what the All Blacks do. They play their game, and at the same time they're disrupting Argentina's game, and they really put them on the back foot for a lot of times. If you can do that to Argentina, you have a chance of getting them off their game and beating them easily.
Exactly. No one in the pool is lacking for physicality.
No.
And that's something that even right now, even with the improvements that we've made at Team USA, we're still easily the fifth most physical team in that pool.
Yeah, but I mean, we're the skill sets of us in Tonga. I mean, we're still playing athletic smash ball rugby. We don't have the great skill sets that you're going to see on those other three teams.
Right. We're just not there yet. And I think that really the difference, like I said, and I stick by this, how well our tight five improves will determine how well we do. I think that, and this isn't necessarily a knock on the open game, especially of our locks. I like the open game of our locks. I think that our locks actually even historically have ported themselves well at World Cup times, all the way going back to Alec Parker.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these guys make it happen. I think that it's important that we kind of note that. But at set piece, how much more solid can we get that? Can we get a 3? We need a 3. We need 2 3s, really. You can't travel to a World Cup with 1 3. You need 2 3s. And somebody who is a 3 and somebody who can play 3 when it's needed. If we can get that that's the level of stability where we don't go backwards, that's going to help us build the confidence that we need. So over the next 2 years, it looks like we already have two great forward challengers coming up, when we'll talk about in a moment, with Germany and Georgia. We're going to have to square up, and figure out how not to go backwards. After we figured out how not to go backwards, we can now start controlling and creating our opportunities at scrum time, where we get the shoulder we want. When we get the shoulder we want, then the backs get more confident. The scrum half has a little bit more confidence when the ball can come out. Full half knows can make decisions accordingly. Right now, we've been kind of forcing the halfback pairing to make miracles.
And that's why it's one of the reasons why we, chip kick so much, and our kicking game's so wild but unorganized.
Right, exactly. Because it's kind of I pull short of calling it frantic, but it's literally we have no other option, and I'm under pressure. So that's what really ends up happening. Maybe 60 to 70% of them.
Yeah. So test matches coming up. We've got on November 11th. So these have been confirmed by the Georgian Rugby Union and the Germany Rugby Union websites. On November 11th, we've got Georgia, and I think we've got it in Tbilisi that we play them. And then on November 18th, we play Germany. I don't know exactly where we play them at, but I know we play them in Germany. And Germany's been real up and coming in the last couple of years in European rugby. They're not quite at Romania's level yet, but they've been winning, and their scrum has been winning a lot of ball. So I know that we haven't had this announcement from USA Rugby yet. I know they're waiting to get all of the details of these matches together before they make the announcements, but we do have the confirmation from the two host unions that we're going to be playing, so there we go.
That's it. It's on record.
It's on record.
Just not our record.
It's just not our record. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Well, but this
our comms team at USA Rugby has the wherewithal to pull the press credentials of Alan Schnorr. Now, if you don't know who Alan Schnorr is, then he's a photographer, and a lot of times we ignore who the photographers are. But Schnorr, he has sports pictures on just about every West Coast newspaper. He shoots for the A's, the Raiders, the Giants, all the Bay Area teams. His pictures are on CNN's 31 of the Week. His pictures have been in SI, ESPN Magazine, and even National Geographic. So the guy's an A-list photographer, and our comms department pulls his creds. Come on, man.
Come on, son.
This is a guy who could help us get a little bit more visibility. So yeah, if they haven't announced it yet, I understand. I think that's a department that Dan's got a lot of fires to put out, and that department's going to be an easy fire to put out when he decides to turn a fire hose on it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think, and that's one thing. Actually, because there's been some discussion about sort of the operations difficulties, and there's been our friend Tony Riddell, who's pledged to sort of take that on from a chairman's position, and he made some very, very intriguing and very. I mean, I like what he's talking about. Spoken with some leadership and organizational development experience, business experience. And something that I've been supporting executives as a management consultant for years, and understand the need of how these things are put together and how to advise such people. And I'm liking what I'm hearing, because we've diagnosed problems that we've all been talking about in our own little circles for a long time. As you said, one of the problems in this country is we don't talk about our problems.
We don't talk about our problems. Yeah.
Right. We just sit in discomfort and dysfunction, and grin and bear it.
Yeah, and I think we've been sitting in this discomfort and dysfunction for so long that we're just finally at a point to where we're not going to grin and bear it. I've talked to a lot of people around this subject, and so while typically a chairman of the board is not intensely involved in organizational restructuring, correct, when you're in a dysfunctional situation, and the only way to really fix it is to break it down. You've got to have
back to fundamentals.
Yeah, you've got to have somebody running the operation, which is what Dan does, and somebody else that's doing the reorg. And in USA Rugby, we can't bring in another guy to do the reorg. That really should fall in the chairman's chair. It's not going to happen with Will Chang. Will's in lame duck status now. We're this close to the Sevens World Cup. He's got his payday. He's happy. You know, he got us to the Sevens World Cup in San Francisco.
His box has been
checked.
Yeah,
it's in his stadium. Mind, yeah. You know, all he's got to do is get to that place, and you know, he's already decided to step out of that place after that event happens. So, you know, he's done what he thinks he should do for USA Rugby. You know, I think he should just step down now, and that they should bring in somebody that's worthy. I think that their nomination process is shoddy and nepotistic at best.
Yeah. It's ugly. Yeah, it's ugly. And if you read the bylaws, it's how the process doesn't line up with what's on paper.
Well, I don't know if that's completely true right now, but
at least the way it's played out. Let's put it that way.
I will say that I don't think the process equals what we need right now.
I completely agree with that. So, I think
the process equals what the board of directors wants, so they can have their status quo and keep doing things easy and not have to fix anything. But I don't think it equals what USA Rugby needs right now. And so I think that not only do we need to we need to do what we did when we brought Kevin Roberts in, is do something different, even though, you know, it's not to the bylaws, and then go in and rewrite the bylaws to where they make sense. And they make sense with a strategic plan and a business plan, all of which we haven't had for however long, even though we've got a piece of paper that says strategic plan on it. It's not really that.
And I'll tell you and I, these are our professional lives, have seen what these things look
like. Yeah. I mean, we look at them every day. We know what a vision is. Yeah. We know what mission and goals are. We know what core values are, core processes, all those things.
And performance measures.
Yeah, all those things that make high performance teams operate. You know, right. You know, our KPIs are set. We know what they are. We know what we have to, what they are, what we got to do to hit them, and we also know why those KPIs are important to our business.
Exactly.
You know, and that's a big thing. You know, and you know, one of the things Tony said the other night to me when we were talking about, I asked him a question. Why is this so important? Because I'm trying to get some hardballs on him, because I don't want him, even though I agree with what he's saying, I don't want him to have an easy road, because I don't think he's going to have an easy road.
Correct. We want this to be means and battle tested as it goes forward. And I think it helps him, and he understands that.
And one of the things he said to me was, man, you know, we got to get this better. Tots to test. And I was like, holy crap, that's great. You know, that's a vision right there. You take something like what Kurt Tate says about Texas rugby, more people playing better rugby, and if you go more people playing better rugby, tots the test, that's a vision. Okay, that's a vision. You can go in and write missions and goals around that vision, and then you can go in and write your strategic plan and your business plan, and then focus on what you got to do to get the financials to make that happen.
Right.
But that
because I'm thinking like, okay, does it, you know, USA Rugby at $15 million, at $60 million, at what does this look like? Because once you have a vision, then eventually you get down through the strategic planning process, you end up with a number.
$15 million should be what our sevens teams operate on every year. Both of them set 15 apiece. That should be what they operate on every year. Mm-hmm. That shouldn't be the whole union's budget. That should be the sevens team's budget.
Right. And we dial back a little bit in terms of what USA Rugby's job, right? Governance, right? So what does governance usually entail? Policy, processes, and facilitation. Mm-hmm. The facilitation of competition, the facilitation of selections for a national team, the facilitation of rules and safety oversight, development of high performance, these type of things, right? Mm-hmm. Policy, right? The policies in place that support that, and then having those communicated to people, the stakeholders that are engaged in making that happen. You know, it's literally it. And then the processes, they're the operations.
Yeah.
And that's the inputs and the outputs.
Yeah. And
the tots, and then to the test.
And that's really what we need to. I mean, look at it. What does USA Rugby do? Tots the test. I mean, that's really how we, if you ask me, that's what our focus should be on. Getting rugby out there, more people playing better rugby tops the test. End of story. And how do we facilitate that? How do they help all of these other rugby entities that are doing their thing? How do they help them make that happen? What kind of support can they bring them? I think the rookie rugby stuff for the tots for the tots end of stuff is really simple. It's out there. It's online. It's a very nice website. It's easy to go in there and navigate. It's easy to take the test, get it done, and then all of a sudden, rookie rugby is very simple, very easy to administer, and so easy to administer that we've got a teacher here in Texas who wrote a curriculum for rookie rugby in Texas so that it goes with the text curriculum in Texas so that teachers can meet their KPIs in Texas by using rookie rugby.
Great. Oh, see, an adaptable, easily implementable.
Yeah. So USA Rugby's done that, but really, how many of us know that it's that easy? And yeah, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and Stephanie Lorenzo has put this curriculum together, and it's just brilliant. You take it in the teachers and you show it to them, and they go, "Oh, I can meet all of my goals with this."
It's a tool.
Yeah, it's a tool.
Right.
I mean, all of the things that they have to do as teachers there's writing in it, there's reading comprehension, there's presentations that Stephanie's written into it, and it's all really simple stuff wrapped around the rookie rugby stuff that, you get out there, and then one day a week, PE class is all about just running up and down the field, throwing the ball around.
Yep. Getting them running around.
Yeah, and that's all it has to be. That's PE teachers. That's their job for 50 minutes is to keep those kids running. And you can't do that with softball.
No.
But, I mean, rookie rugby, hey, this is what you do. You pass the ball backwards. You can't be in front of them. When your flag's pulled, you got to stop, put the ball between your legs, put your flag back on, and go. And it's really that simple. It really is.
Well, and it's something that gets people starts the familiarity process as a top.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a rugby ball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? You play with a size 3 rugby ball. Who cares? Who cares? Elementary, middle school. They're handling a rugby ball. They're doing the over/under drills. They're all the different stuff that's in the rookie rugby curriculum, and the teachers are getting it, so they're able to put it into their classroom once a week, just like they need to, and then they cover all their text goals, which is important. So so it's meeting all of those standards. USA Rugby already provides that. Mm-hmm. So that's one thing they do that is on par with what they need to do. Sorry, had to spray another cat. Getting up into.
I have the perfect thing to put up for that too.
I don't mind. I don't mind if she gets over here, or behind me. I just can't get her. I can't have her getting all in the equipment that's in front of me.
Right, because anything could happen.
Yeah. So anyway, enough about the cats and rookie rugby, but there's a lot of other things that USA Rugby already does, and that people just they gloss it over. They think, well, that's what they should do. I mean, I don't, I want them giving me money. No, man, go out, commercialize your operation.
Right.
Exactly. Figure it out. Okay, there are other people out there figuring it out. You figure it out. Get out there and do it. Raise that money on your own time. We'll give you some best practices. That there are things out there that are already in place, so you can have best practices to figure out how to do that. But right now, just figure it out.
Well, and the thing I like about looking at it that way specifically, because it's such it's a quick implementation. It's low profile. But what things that we were talking about, what kind of how I see governance, right? So this is under the facilitation aspect of making things easier, getting access to resources, communicating the access to those resources that allow for the vision to make further progress towards the vision of whatever that may be.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to be able to, let's say, we're a USA Rugby. We have to measure measure our performance of how well we're communicating our useful, successful tools to the stakeholders and how often it's being used.
Yeah, we do. So enough about that. Women's Rugby World Cup's coming up. I do happen to know that all of the players that have been selected have been notified of it. So we should be seeing a roster this week. Hint, hint. So I think by the end of this week, Tosan, we should have a roster to have a propcast about.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic. And it's funny because I was getting kind of ticked off because I'm like, hey, I've seen all these rosters. Where's my team's roster? I want to gloat. I want to congratulate. I want to talk some trash.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. Let's come on. I want to get the banter going.
Yeah.
We got to heat this up. This is big time. This is the World Cup, baby. We got to get ready. I want to be able to be like, hey, my girls against your girls, my women against your women. You don't want it with us. I want to be able to put some names up with this. So this is going to be a good. I'm excited. As you can tell, as a coach, I'm an energy guy.
Yeah.
I play with fire. I coach with fire. That's something that I am all about that, and I know that these women are going to put on the jersey and represent us well. We as a union may not have backed them the way that we're supposed to, but they're going to represent it just like they always do, and show us why they're worth 15 times as much as we invest in them.
Yes.
Worth their weight in solid gold. And we back you. The Propcast backs y'all. Don't worry about a thing. We're going to be here. We're going to be talking about you. We're going to be popping it up. We'll be propping it up.
Yep.
And I'll tell you what, when things don't go right, we're going to be here pissed off too.
Well,
that's right.
One of the things I was really feeling happy about at that Eagles versus WPL All-Stars game is Devin Ashwani playing at scrum half.
Good to see her again.
And Tess Fury, I like Tess Fury, but I really like Devin Ashwani and her delivery. It's a quick delivery. She doesn't waste a whole lot of time picking the ball up and getting it out.
It's a very classic scrum half play.
Yeah, and you can tell that her time down in Australia has paid off, and she's been under a coach that's developed that with her. She had a good delivery before. It's just very much better now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
absolutely. So I've watched her since college.
Oh yeah, and then of course, Tapper and Thomas out on the wing. I mean, if we, Sam Pankey at hooker. I'm just
11-13.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just ready. I'm ready, man. I think I want to let's get to these matches. Yeah, I'm thinking that there's a couple of matches where they can pull off some surprises. I think you said it earlier. They got to have a moment.
Yep. And that's what I'm looking for. Moments. This is a side. Whatever's on that roster.
Yeah.
We have capability to make some big moments.
Yep.
Some moments that get people that couldn't give two pennies about rugby a look.
Yeah. And I think
that's what we're looking for.
No, I want to see a Sam Pankey step through the gap and take off, and then engage the fullback and feed the Tapper coming on at pace. That kind of stuff. That's the kind of moment I want to look for there.
Right. Like some swan dive in the try
zone. Yeah.
Score it, finish it, boom. It's a moment. Let's say if Phaedra Knight ends up on the roster, she has a moment. We're talking 4 World Cups.
42 years old.
Woo.
Yeah.
She said 40's the new 20.
Yeah.
She said forget that. We got grown folks on this team. It's gonna look good.
I still remember that YouTube video she posted about doing air squats for 5 minutes straight. It's phenomenal.
And somebody that's been around the world doing this. So that's you can't tell me that if she's on that roster, that's going to add a lot of value.
Yeah, and that is.
And a potential for a pretty big moment because. I think she's gonna come to play if she's on that roster.
Well, she does.
Looking at that WPL match, she's gonna be ready.
She got out there. She wasn't able to get the ball to score any tries, but she definitely made them work for it.
Yeah, all over the pitch.
Yeah,
all over everything. One thing I will say, and this is something that, judging by the pool, not necessarily the final selection, our ability to create space, even a little bit, consistently will be the key.
Yeah, I think so too.
Right? Because we're not going to need much.
No.
I promise you're not going to need much. And if we defend well enough to create turnovers in key places, how well we can move that ball in those situations, we'll make a mess up for a lot of
teams.
And
if our backline can play if the midfield can play to the other side of the gain line so that they can feed to the speedsters coming on, it's game over after that.
I think so. So we'll talk a little bit more about this in depth. We're going to give Team USA their own podcast, Propcast, about when we discuss once this roster comes out, what we think, what we're excited about, what we're bullish on, that type of thing, and then give our completely uninformed opinions about what needs to happen.
Uninformed
whatever.
Opinions.
But hey, when has that ever stopped anybody?
It's not stopping us.
Right? So, but that's what it's about. We're going to give the women the same treatment that any team that comes out of the USA is going to get, because y'all deserve that.
Exactly.
And that's a promise, and that's a commitment from us. It's going to be sport. You guys are athletes. We're going to talk about this like the American sports market talks about athletes. Period. That's the way it works, So, but outside
we had some talk last week, after the last Propcast, about people wanting the Propcast to be a podcast as well as a YouTube video.
Yes.
So can you say a little bit about that? Because
yes. So now that's actually it's going to be a very simple thing to do. So these will be going forward uploaded to YouTube, and we'll be putting them on SoundCloud. Once we've developed, I guess, some consistency, we'll go ahead and apply to Apple to make sure it's downloadable and all the other podcast sources. And once we're accepted, you will have Propcast and all you can handle. Anywhere you can get it.
There you go.
In your headphones, YouTube, Vimeo.
Yep.
Facebook. I don't know. You don't know where you see, but we'll be out there. It's like we're the heavyweights in this game. They're not ready for us.
All right. All right. So, Son, it's been a good evening tonight.
Fantastic. Great show today. And you guys at home, once again, reach out to us. Make sure you go over to This Is Texas Rugby on Facebook. Follow Grant. This man is beating doors down, getting the information for us. He's one of the most trusted ears in rugby, so he has his ear to the ground, and he's hearing things and he knows things. This man is one of the most trustworthy sources I've ever met. And like my grandfather says, if a chicken dip snuff, look under his wing. That's Grant Cole. He tells you something. You better take it seriously.
Oh my goodness! So Tosan, man, you're no slouch yourself. Thank you for the kind words. Out there on the West Coast, everybody knows you or on the East Coast. I mean, everybody knows you, and especially there in the DC area. So every time I talk to somebody out there, they know who Tosan is. So especially,
hopefully for good reason.
Especially one of my favorite DC area refs, Buzz McLean.
Buzz, yes. Shout out to Buzz. Yeah, Buzz McLean. Actually, one of my favorites as well.
Well, if you ever get a chance, ask Buzz about getting lost in the city he lived in at the time, and who got him home.
Okay, I will. Actually, we should tag him in this. We demand answers.
Anyway.
All right, hey, folks, this is Tosan, Time Magazine's Prop of the Year for 2001. Runner-up for 2002, I was Rob.
And this is Greg.
Signing off.
And this is Greg Cole, the rugby evangelist for This Is Texas Rugby. And I'll see you in the Rucks.
All right, take it easy, folks. Go Team USA, go Eagles.